In the neutral surroundings of Mandalore, the two sides representing the power in the galaxy meet to discuss terms of peace. The meeting is interrupted by Junior Senator of Onderon Lux Bonteri, blaming the death of his mother Mina Bonteri on Count Dooku. Despite being a risk of execution, Bonteri enlisted the help of Death Watch to track down the Sith Lord. In doing so, he gained the intrigue of the Jedi padawan Ahsoka Tano and her master Anakin Skywalker, who requested for Bonteri to travel to Coruscant. Bonteri refused, even after being held prisoner by Death Watch, leaving Ahsoka to head back to the Jedi Temple on her own. But what if Lux had accepted the offer from Anakin and Ahsoka? How would this change the Jedi's approach to Dooku? Would this affect the fate of Mandalore? All of that is about to be revealed. Pressing the controls to activate the release mechanism for his escape pod, Lux hears the knocking from the small glass window behind him. Lux turns around to see Ahsoka confused as to why he was in the escape pod. He explained that regrettably, he needed to sort this out by himself, and without the Jedi. Ahsoka, however, would not give up so easily, and told Lux they could collaborate to take down Dooku. Lux is now less sure of his decision to go his own way. The Jedi could be a useful ally in his pursuit for Dooku, but how would he balance this with his now increased duties to Onderon? Knowing that the Separatists would have already taken over his home planet, Lux decides it is best if he headed to Coruscant. Maybe the Jedi could aid his cause. Taking up Ahsoka's offer, the pair made it safely to Coruscant and stand in front of the Jedi Council. Obi-Wan, Mace Windu and Yoda look at each other with slight confusion. This had not been a part of their plan. Anakin had told them that Lux had refused their offer. Using the information gained from his holotrace device, Lux discovered that Dooku was heading to his home planet to support new King Sanjay Rash. With this information, the Jedi Council are forced to abandon their initial plan of faking Obi-Wan's death, and instead decide to support Lux. Heading to Onderon as soon as possible, the Jedi Council decide to send its best combatants with the possibility of facing Dooku. Already, Lux had made contact with the Resistance group, allowing the Jedi to split their resources to train the group and free the imprisoned King Dendop. Landing in the Forest Mountains, Ahsoka and Anakin set about training the Resistance group, whilst Mace Windu, Yoda and Obi-Wan head to the Jedi Temple, the most likely location of the King. Peering from a narrow street, the three Jedi can see a group of droids standing and guarding the steps of the temple. This was definitely the place to be, unless it was a diversion. Each stealthily moving from one side, Mace Windu shows the droids no mercy, and shreds them to pieces with several aggressive swings of his blade. For a moment, it seemed too easy, but the unmistakable synchronized clattering sounds of an army of droids overhead swiftly ended that notion. Ducking for cover under the palace entrance, the difficulty for the Jedi increased with more battalions of droids emerging from the side streets. With a combined force push, the giant doors to the temple swing open, and the Jedi rush inside, deflecting several of the bolts before closing the doors. Yoda senses the presence of his former apprentice as well as he had tried to hide it, and they dash to the temple rooftop. Entering a large and luxurious room, King Dendop was huddled in a corner, the bars around him doing nothing to hide his obvious discomfort. Cutting the bars with their blades, they removed the shock collar from the former king, before seeing a dozen commando droids gliding through the empty window alongside Count Dooku. The Count was not so ignorant as to face the three Jedi Masters at the same time, and had shielded himself behind his droids. Leaving the Jedi to deal with the droids, Dooku jumps out of the window, but fails to see Yoda chasing after him, and as he got into his ship, Yoda was using the Force to pull it back down to the ground. However, he soon came under barrage from all of the other droids, and was forced to relinquish his grip on Dooku. Obi-Wan and Windu soon joined the Jedi Grand Master in watching Dooku disappear, and contact Anakin to pursue Dooku. Obliterating the droids in a variety of ways, they clear the area quicker than they thought. Looking into the highlands in the distance, they see even more droids heading towards the rebels. The Jedi soon realise that the super tactical droid must have ordered a retreat. With Ahsoka and the rebels in danger, the three Jedi call for a gunship to pick them up, and they are dropped off in the middle of the battle again. The makeshift wooden fort put up by the rebels is rapidly crumbling, but with the higher ground, the Jedi are able to deflect the bolts, watching as the droids cascade down the mountain. Overhead, they see Anakin floating down to the surface, but once more, Dooku had slipped through their fingers. Returning King Dendop to his rightful place, they cannot find the puppet King Sanjay Rash. However, the Jedi deem their job on Onderon to be complete, and they depart for Coruscant. Travelling through hyperspace, the Jedi are gathered on the command bridge, looking out of the windows, when Yoda feels a great disturbance in the Force. Turning to meet the other Jedi, they can sense it too, and ignite their blades in time to deflect the clones. Banishing all of their emotions of those they had fought alongside, the three Jedi Masters battle together once more, leaving Anakin and Ahsoka to try and bring the rapidly deteriorating ship to Coruscant. Exiting hyperspace, the ship begins to tilt, and alarms start to ring from all directions. Anakin's face was clenched in concentration. This would be the toughest landing he would ever have to make. Entering the atmosphere of Coruscant, Anakin fails to notice that the planet he had known had descended into chaos, his only focus on bringing the Inferno to a landing. Ahsoka tries to make contact with the Coruscant rescue operatives and the emergency fire speeders, but they are either too occupied to put out their fire, or have already been put out of service by the Sith. Aiming for a large open area, the Jedi Masters, having dealt with the clones, use the Force to stop the fire within from engulfing them. The flaming ship touches the surface, scraping along the ground, and immediately, the clones outside begin to fire at will. Master Windu uses his Shatterpoint ability to find a weakness in the windows, and breaks it open, deflecting the incoming blaster fire with ease. All of the Jedi follow the Jedi Master's lead and clamber out, just as the ship disintegrates into debris. Running to the Jedi Temple, the Council are fortunate that many of the Jedi were not off-world, helping the temple to be fortified. Nonetheless, the Jedi are forced to retreat from the sheer quantity of clones, combined with Dooku's separatist forces. With the temple overrun, the Jedi spread out into the streets, with some going as far down as the underworld. The Jedi who had arrived from Onderon are one such group, now looking overhead to see more starships arriving, headed by General Grievous. The Jedi needed immediate assistance. Heading back to the surface, their wishes are granted, with the distinct markings on the side of a unique starship representing those of the planet of Dathomir. With their targets appearing to be Dooku and Grievous, this allowed for the Jedi to focus on the clones. Anakin and Ahsoka had an idea, and rushed back to the Jedi Temple. Scaling around the side of the building, as the inside was under constant attack, they hop into a starfighter, and begin to take out the clones from the air. The effect is profound, as the normally supremely organised clone troopers spread out, afraid of being in the firing line of the two Jedi. Some of the other Jedi are inspired by this move, and take to their own ships, luring the clones away from the separatist droids. Just as the Jedi gain a foothold in the battle, Darth Sidious had finally awoken from his slumber. Having remained in the periphery, he had watched the battle he had planned from his window. Dooku had done well to lure the Jedi away from Coruscant. The loss of Onderon was minor compared to the victory he would soon have. Summoning his blades from the hidden compartments in his office, Sidious slashed his window into pieces, before leaping onto a passing ship. Surveying the battle from the sky, the intervention of the Night Sisters was unexpected, so his first task was to regroup the clones. Ordering them all back to the Jedi Temple, the plan stopped Skywalker and his padawan from using their aerial attacks. Back on the ground, Yoda and Mace Windu are trying to gather any lost Jedi, but are suddenly taken aback by the clones moving oddly to the Jedi Temple. The Night Sisters above them in the rooftop seem to have noticed this too, and the two sides waited for an attack. Silence covered the battle apart from the occasional civilian speeder passing nearby. Finally, the silence was broken by the footsteps of Darth Sidious. Removing his hood, the Jedi are stunned to see the face of Chancellor Palpatine, looking unnaturally evil. But this was who he truly was. His disguise as a Chancellor was a mere mask. The Jedi have no time to react to their shock, as behind Sidious, Dooku emerges with his Magna Guards and orders a full-scale attack. The clones fire at the Night Sisters, but don't move from their position, forcing the hand of the Dathomir natives. Using a variety of magic and weaponry, the Night Sisters try to make a dent, but the wave of clones cannot be stopped. The Jedi are forced to enter the temple, but rather than head through the gate, they head for the tallest tower of the council chamber. The Night Sisters provide a welcome distraction, and they take out the station clones with ease. Gliding down to the primary corridor, Sidious is sitting in the middle on a makeshift throne, angering the Jedi. They would not allow the Sith to invade their home. Anakin surged forward in an effort to pierce his lightsaber through the throne and the Sith Lord's back, but the Sith Lord turned around and swatted away the throne to the side. Looking above at the different floors, clones began to descend to face the Jedi. Sidious cackled as he walked back to the temple gates. The Jedi had had enough, and Yoda force-pushed all of the clones into the pillars, knocking them dead, before throwing the weight of his body on a strike to the Sith Lord. Sidious turns around in time to meet the determined Jedi Grand Master, who was channeling the light like he had never done before. The other Jedi rushed forward to help him, and it was Anakin who dealt the killing blow. The battle fell into a silence once more, before another ship descended into a clearing close by. Out stepped Lux Bonteri and the rebels of Onderon, charging at Dooku and his droids. The Jedi and the Night Sisters follow suit, and charge at the Separatists. Grievous eventually fell at the hands of Obi-Wan, providing Lux with the chance to kill Dooku. He does not fold at the opportunity, utilising the brief training he had to shoot through the array of lightsabers to meet his mark. As the three groups eventually went their separate ways, maintaining a confusing alliance, Anakin watched from the temple steps, as his Padawan looked forlorn at seeing Lux depart. It seemed he was right to have a Padawan after all. That is it for What If Ahsoka Brought Lux Back to Coruscant. Please like this video, and if you're new to this channel, and my other channel, subscribe for more tips. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.